Okay, we're recording.
All right.
It is, what is today? Today's like the 26th?
24th.
24th of June, right. And we're here haikuing, so.
Highlight of the month, always.
It is a highlight of the month. It's been, we've had to move around a little bit just because of logistics and, Davin's moving and I don't know what all's going on. But everything's going on. It's craziness, craziness. So anyway, but it's fun, This is a highlight of the month. So how do we want to do this? Who wants to start? I love these haikus again, as I always do. What I notice is that I mentioned this last time, but it's really true. If you give me enough time, instead of writing a sentence or two, the commentary, throughout history, Davin knows all this stuff better than I do. The commentary is more than what the original writer wrote.
Right. Well, I mean, I loved when they, come throughout the couple weeks, the pattern, there's always a pattern. And I felt that this month too. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like there's this synchronicity that happens that is always, I'm throwing things around here, but it's always so amazing. Yep.
I love it. So Davin, what's up with you? Or how do you propose we start? Dr. Carr-Chellman.
I think I started last month, so someone else should start this month.
Let's do.
Are you guys hearing me okay?
Is so pretty.
I'm on my...
I could hear you pretty well.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Let's start with Amy's. I just think Amy's work is always so pretty.
Thank you.
I love it, and she's got the card, and if you saw both sides of it, you'd see that she's also got exercises. So it's all that sort of stuff. So are you going to read yours first, Amy, and then we'll read our responses?
Sure.
I mean, do you want to read your haiku, and then we'll read what we wrote, then you can read yours?
Yeah, and then I'll read my response last, or my thoughts.
Yep.
So my haiku was practice soul seeing. Eyes, ears, heart aligned to see, look beyond what is.
Okay. Davin, you want to take it?
Yeah. And in some ways, my response to yours will make more sense whenever I read my commentary on my own haiku, but okay. This is fine, I think. All right, Amy, I don't read your haikus or Michael's until I've written mine. And I could have used these words this past week, but I'm glad to have them now. Practice is key. You are what you repeatedly do. Looking beyond what is, the fleeting appearances that pull us away from the things that really matter, is something I'm always working to improve. For me, it's about perspective. See the big picture, breathe, address the most essential things, and the others will fall in line. The eyes won't see and the ears won't hear, though, if the heart isn't right there with them, guiding the way through the distractions of what is. Practice soul seeing. It's not a term I've encountered until now, but I will use it, especially during the times that are challenging.
I love that.
Yeah, no kidding.
So is soul seeing your creation, or is that something that you've read about?
I'll write about it. I share about it in my response, so I won't spoil it.
Okay.
It's always amazing to me how things kind of come when they're needed. It's just interesting how that happens. Okay, so here's what I wrote, because I hadn't heard that term either, soul seeing, which I love. So first, what is it to practice soul seeing? I want to know. I wrote that with an exclamation mark. I want to know. Immediately, this haiku draws me in. I wondered what see means. Eyes can see. Can ears? If ears can see, can a nose? Can our skin see? And if our skin can see, can our eyes feel? Our ears smell? Can our nose see? And a tongue? Well, can a tongue see? I know it can feel. How about hear? Can a tongue hear? I wondered about these five senses, wondering how fungible they might be. How sight, smell, touch, hearing, and taste could possibly align to see. And then I remembered the heart.
Mm.
The heart is none of these five senses. It can't physically, right? And yet our hearts can feel sad, happy, joyous, can taste, savor the sweet fruit of generosity, can smell out acrid bitterness, and inhale an invisible spirit, can see what exists more elementally than words or promises or ideas, can hear the harmony and the resonance in everything. And in all these, the heart aligns the apparently discrete. And so, soul-seeing practice is really the discipline of discovering ever more the heart that encompasses, integrates, and harmonizes not only senses, not only emotions, but mind and spirit.
Wow. Wow.
Heart is at the heart.
You know, the best, it's like anything else. The best haikus just generate so much. They're generative.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I'll share a little bit about my process. I read the term soul seeing on page 185 of The Way of Gratitude, Readings for a Joyful Life by Orbis Books. It was one of those phrases that sparkled up out of the text. I learned to watch for words that sparkle from a podcast on Harry Potter. Sparkling words come from the ancient practice of florilegium, which is the practice of keeping a journal of phrases that sparkle up from texts and looking for patterns and new meanings that emerge when multiple sparklets, phrases, are put together. Soul seeing, from the context of the essay that I read, the term is perhaps an online blog or journal. I love the term. The sparkle for me was an invitation to deeper seeing, a slower, more intentional way in which to view the world. Our eyes work hard every day, all day, giving us information, both practical. A car is coming, the dishes need to be cleaned, the pot is boiling over, the weeds are too high, or our eyes capture the grace of two doves on the path, an unexpected hawk emerging from a tree, tiny blue flowers along the path, and the palpable joy of kids running through a sprinkler. With these 17 syllables, I wanted to remind and invite us to soul seeing, moments of grace when we engage our eyes, ears, and heart to see beyond the outline to the meaning.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
where you got it too. That was interesting.
So
I love that.
Did I disappear for a few minutes there?
You did, yeah.
For a momentary nanosecond, actually.
Yeah. So everything froze for a good while. So I missed the last little bit there, Amy. I'm sorry about that. Just for posterity's sake, I'm in technological transition, so I'm using the hotspot on my phone.
Doing the best we can with what we have, right?
I think maybe my Verizon is playing tricks on me.
Well, that's a great haiku to kick it off. Is there anything else we want to talk about that haiku? I just love the idea of practice soul seeing, practice soul seeing.
I love that you both kind of zeroed in on the word practice, because that is I like that word too, practice soul seeing.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you, Amy.
Yeah.
So who's next? Davin, you want me to go or would you rather go?
Okay.
Okay, here I go. So this is a picture of a fence. And what we'll do is we'll put these pictures up, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the haiku. Plywood boards propped. Paint cracked. Holes covered. The fence, unruffled, still stands. That's it.
I can read my response. As usual, the overlap between the haikus brings unexpected delight, a 17-syllable reflection on a fence, the ordinary turned extraordinary through observation, appreciation, and wonder. This haiku points to the additional layers that have built up over time on the fence. Paint designed to protect the boards and add beauty, fading and cracking over days of hot sun, drizzling rain and wet snow, holes carefully mended or maybe strategically blocked. The fence, the source, the primary focus is unaffected by the changes. Its essence hasn't changed with the wear and tear, beautifying and breaking. This haiku reminds me of the call and invitation we have to anchor our lives in our true self, as Father Richard Rohr so often calls us. The fence is and always has been exactly what it was created to be, a fence. All the outward improvements and challenges haven't changed the true nature of the fence, a lesson on true self and false self from the observations of a worn fence. That, I think, is the meaning and magic of soul seeing.
I love it. That's awesome.
Great.
That's beautiful, Amy. That's really, really, really good. Thank you.
That was great.
Yeah. I loved this. I couldn't believe how much I got out of a haiku on a fence.
Yeah.
Really.
It's a great poem, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I can't help but think this fence is a metaphor for human beings doing good work. I always tell my kids, usually when something breaks or needs repairing, that when you do stuff, stuff happens. The only way to guarantee that nothing breaks, wears out, or avoids mistakes is to not do anything at all. A life well lived is just like this fence, showing evidence of fulfilling its purpose. I remember my wedding day, placing the pristine gold ring on my finger. I couldn't wait for it to get scuffed and worn, showing the character of age and hard work. The fence, unruffled, still stands.
Mm. Wow.
Awesome. Pristine ring. Mine needs a little buffing after 44 years. Well, I enjoy reading this. I enjoy writing this haiku just because, you know, like y'all talk about it, it's a metaphor for a lot of things. So here's what I wrote about it. I said, the U.S. Constitution is being battered now. The earth scourged. Communities are fracturing, democracy cracking, scientific, political, health, economic, religious institutions rotting. The values, traditions, courtesy, honor, and respect undergirding and uplifting them unraveling. My fence holds strong in heavy rains, merciless winds, harsh winter snow and ice, and punishing heat of summer. Holds. But will it hold? Unflappable, unperturbed, and impervious. This battlement protects us now, buffers us from the world, provides an island of peace in an unsettled world. This barrier of wood and nails and screws will last as long as I'll take care of it, as long as I'll patch it, as long as the planks do not decay beyond repair. But if I don't, it will fall. If we don't, we will fall.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Call that post-apocalyptic haiku.
Well, hopefully we haven't really gotten to apocalyptic. Post-apocalyptic means that, you know, the cities are in ruins, right?
Mad Max kind of stuff. Yeah, so it would be pre-apocalyptic.
Hopefully it's going to be apocalyptic avoidance.
Nice.
Apocalyptic avoidant.
That'd be nice.
Maybe we'll get that. Maybe we'll get that old, strong, sturdy fence buffed up, fixed, and undergirded.
I bet we will.
I bet we will too.
All right. My haiku. I titled it Mind Management. To be useful is the greatest task of one's mind. Seek to enrich it. We had a direct exposure to COVID this past week. Our daughter spent time with a close friend who we later learned has a sibling with COVID, confirmed. With my wife's weakened immune system and our drive cross country beginning tomorrow, this turn of events tossed everything upside down. Physician appointments, potentially getting tested, isolating from each other at exactly the moment we need to work together and to be together preparing for our move. We literally have spent months preparing to be able to have this week together. The level of stress and distraction has been pretty tough. We've been so careful, painfully so. Until 2 weeks ago, I hadn't been in the same room with my wife since late March. This poem, as I wrote it, as the words came to my mind, reminded me of my priorities, how best to act in line with those priorities. Very simple, very concrete, which is exactly what I needed in the midst of so much turmoil and uncertainty. Panic and distraction are the enemies of most good things. Bad intentions thrive in these kinds of environments. If I'm going to be useful, which I need to be, enriching my mind through focus and discipline is essential. We just learned, by the way, that her friend has tested negative for COVID, so perhaps we're off the hook.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow. You want me to go or do you want to go, Amy?
You can go.
Okay. So I riffed a little bit off the picture, just so you know. And what makes these haikus so cool in so many ways is that it's this combination of picture and haiku and discussion and everything that just makes it pretty cool. So here it is. A golden zip. A garden fork I found is also called a spading fork or digging fork, usually with 4 tines, is used to loosen and turn over soil. It is able to rake out weeds, break up clods, and work around stones. Roots, sadly, can stop it. A relative, the grape, G-R-A-I-P, usually has 3 tines and is used for turning manure or alliteratively digging dung. Parentheses, this enlightenment courtesy Wikipedia and the Collins Online Dictionary, close parentheses. This brings me to mind management in our haiku. The mind, without tools for turning over fertile thought or clearing out proliferating, choking, invasive, perennial, closed-minded, fundamentalitis thinking, would that they were annuals or even quotidials, is unable to gather the rich harvest of produce. That is, productive thinking, resulting from strategic planting and gathering at the end of gestation, fermentation, instantiation, imagination, and, well, heck, transgenderation. That is to say, this process is the cross-fertilizing, grafting, and pruning of the greening, growing victory garden of the mind, with tomato slices of life, multicolored green, yellow, red, and orange peppers, peppering perspectives, all brainstorm washed with rejuvenating brain drops, and brainy days and Mondays always get me nouns, vivid ones, and verbs, useful ones. To enrich is to cultivate. To enrich one's mind at its best is planting and nurturing organically. So the superficial, the homogenized, is not the produce, but rather are the unique sweet strawberries which feed others so robustly, so metabolically, and so fruitfully.
More poetic
Wow.
poem itself. That's great.
So great.
Fun stuff.
So good. Okay, this is mine. Like the other haikus this month that take the obvious, common, overlooked parts of life and invite us deeper, in this haiku, we're invited to consider mind management. To be useful is the greatest task of one's mind. As I read this line, I wondered how often our mind isn't really useful. Fears that loom larger than they should, prejudices that inform responses that we might not even realize, automatic patterns that shape our days without conscious thought. Mind management is the title given to this haiku. Management means the process of dealing with or controlling things or people. Management is a process, something that isn't automatic, but involves a series of steps, of starts and stops, with the goal of gaining influence or control, in this case, over our mind. Seek to enrich it is another invitation to find ways to, as the picture with the haiku demonstrates, turn the soil of our mind to enrich, to add, to create meaning. Perhaps our mind is enlightened through soul seeing. I appreciate how all three of the haikus this month propose that in the most ordinary things, seeing, thinking, fences, there is more. The ordinary is the doorway we seek.
I love it. Amy, you do such a great job of tying this all together. Great.
I did. To me, it was like so clear.
Oh, and now we don't have Davin's because he read his first, so we can't kind of riff off the last one, but
it's good.
It's really good. It's really good. It's in the moment. You know, all great haikus are in the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're there and they're concrete. At least at least that's my impression.
Yeah.
Never stale. Never stale. The haiku is never stale. You know, it's
right.
really always fresh.
So I was thinking about as Amy was reading, I was thinking about mind management. It's like a lot of things. Mind management's good if I'm managing it, but if others are managing my mind, I'm not so sure that I like that part. I wonder what mind leadership would be. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Don't get me started here. Or I'll relate it to a fruit or something,
No.
Dig and done.
So good. Another good month of thoughtful haikus.
Yeah, it's great. Anybody else have anything else before we get out of here? Next month, I think will be a year or something like that.
I think so.
Since we've been doing this. Okay. Well done. TTYL. Talk to you later.